Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Halo Montager Podcast. Today we have myself, Execrated, along with Apple Fanatic
How's it going?
and Normac.
Yo.
And today the main theme is going to be what could be done to make Halo 6 a good Halo game. And the first thing I've thought of is the matter of skill-based differences. You know how like a lot of people think, oh hey, Halo 5 is a lot easier to play than other Halos in the past. So one of the biggest examples I can think of is bullet magnetism, for example. The idea of how I personally prefer to watch Halo 2 and 3 montages, not just because I usually play them more than something like Halo 4 or 5, but also because I can tell that the clips that people are acquiring take a lot more skill to get than Halo 5 and 4, for the most part. There are some insane Halo 4 and Halo 5 clips, but at the same time, if you compare, let's say, a free-for-all midship Jaro is a lot harder to get than an all-BR Jaro in Halo 5, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like the whole idea of that and like enlarged hitboxes for different games?
I mean, yeah, definitely the hitboxes in H5 are definitely really big, but I mean, a lot of people don't see that when they're just like normally playing because the magnetism for the pistol is actually like pretty solid. Like it seems relatively skillful, and that's why they made it so that the pistol is the default weapon in like the competitive settings. But yeah, like the sniper hitbox is huge and the magnetism is like crazy. Like you can hit people like straight in the shoulder and it'll normally count as a headshot, whereas that never happened really in Halo 3 unless you had a really bad connection. But I mean, it definitely does make it a lot more satisfying to watch when you know that the shots being hit are like, I mean, actually difficult, because like the term we talked about it last time, the term duck hunting that a lot of people hate. I mean, when you see a clip on H5 where someone's just like sitting in one spot, just sniping people and like not missing, that happened in H3 too. But the thing is that it's so much easier in H5 because the game like aims for you at some point when you're like focused on someone. Sometimes the auto aim will actually drag off someone and go to someone else. Like it gets ridiculous in that regard, and I feel like ever since Reach it's kind of been like that. Like H2A was really easy to snipe into, but yeah
I don't think it's completely necessary. I know for like probably Halo 5 their thought process behind it was like, if we make it so if you have a sniper and it's like easier to hit headshots, and it'll be like more noob friendly so that people would like, I don't know, enjoy the game more and won't get frustrated with it. But I think the thing is, they're like noobs aren't like always attracted to the snipe. Like they want to drive like a vehicle or something or get like the rocket. So I think having like a big skill gap like in that sense is like a important thing to have.
Yeah, and another thing is I'm pretty sure that the logic behind that also is that since there's all these abilities, like people are sprinting and like hovering and thrusting and all this stuff, like I figured they probably wanted the big hitbox to like kind of accommodate for that, which I guess kind of makes sense. But I mean, yeah, at the same time, it's just, I don't know, it's not as fun to watch when you're seeing a shot that's like so, I don't know, simple in H5, whereas in H3 it would be like super hard. Like back the headshots, for example, like ever since Reach, you've been able to get those like super easy by like hitting someone like the top of their back, whereas in Halo 3 it was like super difficult.
Yeah, you pretty much had to jump to get that extra, elevation to get the right angle and hitting them in the back of the head. Whereas in Reach, I think you can get it to where in Reach, if you shoot someone from below, even like basically if you were to shoot a sniper round through their ass and hit their jaw, you would get a headshot because it would count the body shot from going through the body, but then the headshot as it actually reaches their head. Where I think in Halo 3 it doesn't do that.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't do that in Halo 3.
Which I do find interesting how that works, considering, it's not like Halo 3 doesn't have collateral physics. You can get 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s in Halo 3, so I wonder why that doesn't work.
Maybe the Spartan models? I don't know.
Well, no, even then, like if you were to properly aim it, I don't think it would happen. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea, though. I like that in Reach.
Or
that was the thing for like.
Here's something else. Have you noticed with the amount of bullet magnetism in Halo 5 how hard it is for 2-for-1s to register? Why is that?
2-for-1s in H5 are like messed up.
Yeah, like it's almost as if, and I wonder if this might actually be it, where the bullet magnetism applies to whoever you're aiming at, and so the bullet will go to the first player that you hit, and then once it hits the player, that script that's running to register bullet magnetism goes away because it's like, okay, I've executed, what I'm supposed to do, and therefore when it goes to the player behind, there's no such thing as bullet magnetism. That might be it. And due to the fact that everything's on dedicated servers, if you're even on, there's no such thing as host where everything will apply instantly, for example, then maybe that delay makes it incredibly hard with no bullet magnetism applied for it to actually count as a 2-for-1. Yeah. I'm just guessing. I don't know if this is true.
Yeah. I mean, even with no bullet magnetism, like I was really bored one day and I did an octagon with a friend of mine where we were on the same team and we were just betraying each other. And it's actually really easy in Halo 5 to line that up like just as a no scope because the hitbox is like ridiculous. Yeah. Like it's not even just the bullet magnetism, but like the reason you see so many whip no scopes in H5 is because you can just just kind of randomly fire near you and it's likely it's going to go near the person because the hitbox is so big. And they even turned down the magnetism for no scopes, but I mean people are already used to it. Again, it's still like way easier than like Halo 3 no scopes and stuff like that.
And then what do you guys think about stuff like the art style, for example? How a lot of people say that they like the classic Halo look versus what we have now. Like some people will describe Halo 5 as almost like plastic, for example.
Yeah, that's not too far off, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to have like a solid like scenery. I know one person in particular, Noob Slayer, he's like always like, I don't know, interested by that. Like he in his Chops videos, he's always like going in theater and looking around the maps and stuff, and it's not going unappreciated. Like people for sure like look at that stuff and like we'll explore the map. So having a lot of detail in the scenery, it's
I've spent hours in theater before in H3 and Reach, just like going around the maps and like trying to find cool places to do angles for future videos and stuff. Like,
and to be fair,
they're like Easter eggs and stuff.
343 does a really good job with skyboxes in one aspect. They are very creative with their skyboxes. However, when you zoom in on them, they tend to look pretty ugly. I don't know if you. I think my favorite example is. What's the map called? Harvest, I think, on Halo 4. It's a really obscure DLC map. Chris, you help me out here. You would know this.
I know what it is, but I've played it like twice in my life.
Okay, anyways, map playability is pretty but then the aesthetics, it's cool how above the map they have a tram system going by. Like almost like Terminal from Halo 2, but it's like above the map. And you don't normally look at it, but it's there. It's cool. And they have a whole like agricultural setting outside the map. It looks really cool at face value, but when you zoom in, you can tell how much of a rasterized image it is. It's just it gets so pixelated like the moment you zoom in, and that happens with a lot of 343 skyboxes. That's something else, by the way. Playability versus aesthetics. I think that's really important because with Halo 4 especially, 343 did a lot of cool things aesthetically, but the functionality of their maps really suffered for it. And I feel like that carried over into Halo 5 as well. I wonder if they're going to have that same problem with Halo 6. You think that'll be the case?
I mean, I don't know. I just I understand that the art team at 343 is like completely different than the art team at Bungie, and that's the reason why the whole like styles change and stuff. And not all of it is bad, but the problem is that like, I don't know, when you get to the point where like the majority of people think that like parts of your game like literally look like plastic, like the Spartans in H5, like they're so shiny and like, I don't know, they kind of look like action figures to me that are like made out of plastic sometimes.
You can see
whereas like, I don't know, Reach and H3 had like kind of a gritty look to like the textures of the maps and stuff, and then Reach Spartans were like super detailed and stuff, but like in general, it seems like the consensus is that Halo 3 had like the best art style and the most like enjoyable, I guess, aesthetics to watch, like in a montage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if 343's direction with the art style is more, oh look, future, clean, shiny, it's in a simulation. When in reality, I like the idea of previous Halos really enforcing the fact that, you're at war, everything looks really like war ridden. Especially Reach, it has that really gritty look to it. Like it's been under use. And I feel like that's how it should be. Especially with things like the maps, the map textures. Like if you think about Pit, they have half of the ceiling still has its glass, and the other half there's no glass. It's completely abandoned. It's not grown over with weeds and stuff like Regret on Halo 5, for example, but it's not shiny. It has a very concrete and not even dull look, but like a very worn look. Whereas even Regret, it has a very worn down look because of the fact that it has like shrubbery and all these beetles like going around and stuff. It has an open ceiling, almost as if like it was burst open. If you were to compare it to what it's supposed to be based off of, but it's still shiny. It's weird, but it's not like it's raining. If it was raining, I can understand, but nothing really indicates that. So the fact that it looks worn but shiny still gives it something's off about it.
Yeah. It's just brought up something that so I don't know how much you guys played H4. I montaged in because I don't know. I had fun doing that, but there were some things that 343 did, like lore wise in H4, where they like took it to multiplayer and said it's like all a simulation. They like called it war games, and they gave you like this super annoying tutorial every single time you made a new account, where it's like, hello, welcome to the UNSC Infinity. I'm Spartan Sarah Palmer. You have to listen to this garbage for like for like five minutes until you can finally like get to where you want to go. Whereas like, I don't know, in H3 and H2 and Reach, it never really felt like that. It just felt like another like natural addition to the game and not just like a forced like.
Well, that's actually a very lore-based
that doesn't need to exist.
That's a very lore-based thing, though, because with Halo 4, they introduced the idea that all future versions of multiplayer are a simulation. However, it's never been explained in the lore, why are Spartans fighting each other? How is this going on? Like the pit, as I mentioned earlier, is specifically a training facility for Spartans, suggesting that they actually fought on it. But then how does the whole system of, they respawned? Wait, how does that work? Clearly that wouldn't actually happen. It's never been explained. It's just kind of a gray area in Halo's history. And then that's how 343 kind of officialized, it's a simulation. So I kind of understand that. But that intro to Halo 4 was pretty annoying.
I think like another thing are just like the really little details, like on Avalanche, like if you're walking, you can see footprints in the snow. That's I don't think any other Halo has that.
Like just, you can see the texture come up,
and they have like the snow covered vehicles and stuff. Like
it's
just like that cool attention to detail that doesn't really seem to be there anymore.
Yeah, I think details and just like Devin said earlier, it's like an important thing. Like I'm just forging on high ground right now, and like looking at the walls and at the floor, there's a lot of like you can see it's like worn and stuff, and I don't know, it gives like an extra kind of feel to it, like compared to if it was just like flat, like Forge maps, for example. I hate playing Forge maps like in Halo 4. I mean, I don't know, Halo 3 on Sandbox, I don't know if that's just because my bias or whatever, but I liked all the Forge maps that they had on Sandbox. They all kind of had like a cool feel to them, but I don't know, with Halo 4
I thought Halo 3's Forge had like the best like aesthetics. Like I mean they had really cool textures and stuff.
It's like
and
variety they had.
How did you feel about Foundry Forge maps then, Cam? You said you liked Sandbox, but
Foundry, I don't know. Yeah, Foundry kind of looks plain.
I still feel like Foundry's like nicer looking than like Reach Forge or H4 Forge. I mean, there's a lot of really cool stuff in Halo 5 Forge. A lot of people think it's like the best part of the game. So I mean, I can't really speak too much about that because I haven't tried forging in Halo 5, but I mean, there are a lot of options there to make your map look look like normal. But then there aren't like in matchmaking, there are so many forge maps that just go unnoticed. There are like 3 or 4 forge maps total in Halo 5, and they're all made by 343. And then they're like occasional like community playlists to highlight them, but then they're gone within like a week, so you don't really get to appreciate them.
Yeah. So do you guys want to move into multi-kills and what that should look like for Halo 6 or Halo 3 anniversary if that ever happens?
Yeah, all right. We'll talk about multi-kills first, and then we'll brush up on Halo 3 anniversary. But with the multi-kills thing, okay, I'm also going to touch up on respawns. Remind me of that if I forget. But with multi-kills, I really wish that they would go back to 4 seconds, because the fact that, yes, technically Halo 4, Halo 2 anniversary, and Halo 5 are all supposedly 4.5 seconds. With Halo 5, you can see the multi-kill timers go way past 4.5.
I'm convinced 343 doesn't even know what their time is for Halo 5, because when the game first came out on Waypoint, it said 5 seconds, and then there was an update to the game that brought like post-game medals and stuff, and it said 5 seconds in game, but then 4.5 on Waypoint, and then there was an update that changed it to say a short time of between one another. So I don't even think they know.
You have to make another 12-minute video explaining like the multi-kill timer.
I really hope it's not 5 seconds though, because the fact that like
I'm pretty sure it is.
The fact that it already went up from 4 to 4.5 and then 5, like I mean, it's bad enough with Halo 2 anniversary how there was a glitch where the multi-kill timer was a static 4.5. However, the way that the game registered it was, oh well, there's 60 frames in a second, so we can only register it if there's let's see, 60 times 4 would be 240, and then an extra 30. So 270 frames have passed. That's the most we can allow for a multi-kill timer. But if the game dropped frames, that means that more than 4.5 seconds can pass.
Or the game clock freezes. I know Cam knows this all too well on Halo 3 MCC.
I'll never understand those lobbies of like a long timer. Like I've had theories like if the connection's bad, then that'll happen. But I've had games that have like fine connection, like you won't double reload or anything like that, and people die normally and it'll still be a long timer. I don't know why that happens and why Valhalla is like prone to that, but I don't know, it's weird.
There's actually a clip from Darren that I saw the other day where he no-scopes a guy like straight across the map for a tac exterm, but I've seen the raw clip and it's like a 7-second long tac exterm, and apparently they're all still dead. But but like I think a lot of people don't understand like why we're complaining about this. Like I think a lot of people think who aren't montagers think, oh, this just means there'll be more multi-kills, more clips to save, all that stuff. But the thing is that it makes it so much like less impressive when it comes to like the actual clip quality and stuff. Like pretty much every single stream, Campy talks about how he hates how long the multi-kill timers are. Like I've seen him hit pox before and not even save them because they were like way too long and like not even legit in his mind. So.
Or even the fact that sometimes it's a matter of the amount of times that you see people streaming and then you either see them say, oh, that connected, or I don't know, is that going to connect? Because you can't see the medals even come up yet. So it's a guessing game.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a guessing game. Like you should be able to tell, okay, it's 4 seconds. We're done. I didn't get it. It timed out. Like that's how it should be. It shouldn't be some mystery to solve as it's happening. Like that's just weird to me.
Yeah.
And I guess this kind of goes back to like how they're displayed too. But it was so simple in Halo 3. Like with the exception of slow clock, if your medals faded away, you're out of time. Whereas in Halo 4, just like they disappeared within like a second and a half, and then you just had to, I don't know, guess if it was gonna connect. And then in H5, it's kind of the same way, except you don't actually know what's happening because the medals don't make any sense.
Yeah, I think Halo 3 nailed it.
Yeah,
but moving forward to like Halo 6, I've always like had this thought that it would be cool to add more multi-kills. Like I know in CE it stopped at the TAC, and then Halo 2 the Jaro, and then Halo 3 the Nair. It's like, why did they stop? It's like the games are becoming more noob friendly. That would be cool if they could have like Like maybe
See,
go up to 15 or something,
yeah.
so that the skilled players can have the opportunity to like get more impressive clips.
I've thought about that too, but the thing is that, and this isn't me bashing 343, but I don't have confidence that they would come up with multi-kill names that aren't like super cheesy.
Yeah.
So I feel like a good alternative to that is just have it like Halo 2, where the nair repeats after every single kill.
Yeah,
after the nair.
that'd be
Which
good too.
that I would like. Not to mention, another counterpoint to what you said, though, is that you said it would be nice to add up to 15 for more skilled players because it's becoming more noob-friendly. Well, I'd rather them just go the route of Halo not being so noob-friendly. Make it more skill-based. And then
even then, I mean, having more would still be like a good thing because you could just get a nair, and I know people would just like stop playing after that. But there's like potential that you could get so much more.
Dude, okay. Not to call anyone out, but there was a clip hit recently where someone insta recorded after a kill in there, and there were 2 more people right next to him. Like, please stop doing that.
Yeah. But Cam, even the idea of like repeating the nair, kind of like with Halo 2 Jaro, like I don't feel like I have to stop if I hit a Halo 2 Jaro because it'll say Kilimanjaro again. You know, the fact that there's a feeling of continuation there. So if they repeated killing air as well, I feel like it would still help incentivize the idea of continuing the multi.
So, for sure.
I don't know. I think it'd be best to leave it how it is, and
I just think it'd be cool to see like the new, like how they I don't know how many stars they could fit in a small medal like that when it would get like too crazy. But I'd like to see like I don't know, new medals, new color.
Eventually it'll just be like a blob, kind of like when you think about how many sides can you add to a shape until it looks like a circle. Like you know, you only think of most people have only counted up to a certain amount of sides in a polygon, like an octagon, for example, being 8. You think, oh well, that's a stop sign. Well, what about when you get into more like, okay, a decagon is 10, that's getting a bit more like a circle. What about an icosagon? That's 20 sides. Now it's really looking like a circle, you know. So I don't know, how many stars do you add till it looks like a giant white circle in the middle?
I mean, I will say though, it would be nice to see them add medals that actually like mean something, as opposed to just adding useless ones that we've talked about before.
And I've always thought that that like Homebomb brought it up, like being able to turn off medals would be like a giant thing. That would be so helpful.
That'd be so cool. I would literally turn off every medal except like headshot, sprees, and multi.
And the multi.
It would be cool if they went the route in Halo 6 of clearing up the fluff and like adding cool stuff in place of it. So like as we mentioned in the previous podcast, big game hunter, power player.
Yeah.
No one cares about those medals. Okay, I'm sorry. Whoever took the time to make those medals, no one cares about them.
They didn't think it through either, because if you're playing a snipers game, you're going to get big game hunter after 3 kills, no matter what. So
what is that? I don't even know what that means.
Start spammed with it.
What is that? What does that medal even mean?
It means
that's also what I mean.
Like 3 players in a row that are carrying power weapons. So if you're playing snipers and you kill 3 people, you're going to get that medal.
And that's the other thing I touched on last time, though, is that
get them over and over and over again.
Is that people don't know what the medals mean. That's a problem. Only make medals if people are going to know what it is. Like, it's different when, let's say, you people that aren't montagers, not everyone can actually name what is a multi-kill 2 through 10. They may not know them in order or even what all of them are because they haven't hit it. But at the same time, you can tell what it is because they have the stars numbering what multi-kill it is, right? And then with sprees, actually, sprees, it's harder to tell in English than it is in, let's say, German, for example, because let's say if we were to take Halo Reach as an example, you know, you would have to know killing spree, killing frenzy, running riot, rampage, untouchable, invincible, inconceivable, and unfriggin' believable. But in German, they actually tack on suffixes because, you know, like, it's, they have Fassbar, Glickfassbar, and Unmöglichfassbar for like the last 3 sprees.
I'm impressed that you know this.
Yeah, why do you speak German?
Nope.
Okay.
But I do understand
German.
things about other languages. We're not going to go into that, though. This isn't about me.
Language podcast?
No, but point is, though, it makes more sense sometimes in other languages. I get that. But in English, not everyone would know it just because they haven't hit the medal. But at least its chronology makes sense. Whereas with other medals, like you mentioned, big game hunter and power play, what do those even mean? Well, provide relevant medals, and people will actually start caring about them instead of like, I don't care about that. Or something
I
else we
always thought
talked
Bungie
about.
was the best at that. They always came up with some really creative ones. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, 343 has created some pretty creative ones. Like, I like trying to think of a medal in Halo 5 that I like.
None of them.
Combat Evolved is kind of cool to native
Yeah,
yourself
cool.
and get a medal for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's some. I'm trying to think of another one. And
for an example
hard.
along the same vein is
What?
Okay, you mentioned Comedy Evolved. I do like that medal. It's good. It's a real good throwback to Comedy Evolved. But I don't like the BXR medal because it's so much not like a
that's just
BXR.
a troll.
Isn't it buggy too? Or like, how do
It's
you
not
make it?
buggy.
Well,
It's just
okay,
that you can't actually BXR in Halo 5 because you can. Okay, you know the concept of a BXR, right? You do the
Yeah,
melee,
yeah.
you cancel with a reload, and then shoot. So it's basically a melee and a shot at the same time, and you usually get like an instant headshot.
Yeah, the Halo
Do you just
5
melee and
BXR
shoot
is
together?
if you melee someone, switch weapons, and then headshot, and it doesn't matter
Wow.
how much time is in between. That's a BXR.
Well, no, you don't. You don't even have to switch. Like you can have a BR out, for example. You punch. You could like take the time to reload your BR. You know, take as long as you want, and then as long as their shields don't start recharging.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I've tested this. It can start recharging, but as long as you kill them with one burst of the BR, it will still give you the BXR.
Yeah, that's
So,
stupid. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know a single person that likes that medal. It's basically just like a slap in the face to anyone who played Halo 2, and they're just like, this doesn't mean anything.
We also talked about this a little bit before the podcast, but redundancies as well, like the headshot idea. I wonder if it would be better to leave it in the kill feed because I do like the way that they implemented headshots in the kill feed, just saying, oh, here's the little ring showing they got a headshot. But then they also waste medal space portraying a headshot medal instead of they're cluttering up something that is already a problem and they could just get rid of it to help subsidize the problem, but they have the redundancy in there. So I wonder if they'll do away with one or the other in Halo 6 or just leave them both or find a better solution, whatever that may be.
I personally really like the Halo 3 solution that just doesn't have a headshot medal. It'd be cool if they combine the Reach kill feed and the Halo 3 system without a headshot medal, except for snipes. Because, I mean, I don't know, having too many medals on screen at a time can be a really, I don't know, it can be annoying sometimes, especially when as we've talked about before, sometimes they can push other medals away, like externs and stuff.
Something that I didn't get back to, none of you guys reminded me of, was the topic of respawn.
My bad.
Because we were talking about the multi-kill timer, but I really don't like the fact that they've consolidated the respawn timer, because the fact that it has been 5 seconds in Slayer and 10 seconds in Objective since Halo's existed, and then 343 just decides, oh, let's just consolidate that because we feel like it. I feel like there was no good reason for it, because the reason it was done before is that they are separate things. You can't have people spawning in 5 seconds and expect people to pull a flag without resistance. The whole idea in competitive play is, we got to get 3 people down so that we can go in, get the flag, pull it out, and then maybe I'll get shot in the back a bit, but if you do a good job, you should still be able to get out. If it's 5 seconds, you can't do that. By consolidating the two, you're reducing that time. And it's like, why would you also extend the time of Slayer? I don't understand that. There was no reason to extend how long it takes to respawn in Slayer. Yet they just picked the median between 5 and 10 and rounded up to 8.
343 has done some really interesting things with respawns, all of which I don't agree with. But they started with Halo 4 by making it so you can instant respawn, and I was just straight from Call of Duty thinking that was going to bring more people into the game and make it more fast paced. And it did make it more fast paced, but at the same time, it made it like ridiculous. Whereas in Halo 5, I think what they thought is that their game was too fast paced, so they had to slow down the respawn of Slayer. But I mean, looking back, that's one of my least favorite things about Halo 5, and not just from like a montaging perspective, but I just don't think it makes any sense to have a really slow respawn in a Slayer game type when it's always been like all about being fast paced and stuff. So I don't know. And like from a montaging perspective, it's really annoying. Like, because if you're playing 6-man FFA and one person quits, you're probably not going to end up getting any sort of savable clip, because if you kill 4 of them, you're going to have to wait a while. Like, it's weird.
I haven't seen a whole lot of people negatively respond to it, even though it is a big change, but at the same time, I've never seen anything positive for it. I just think it is.
I remember when Halo 5 first came out, and I played my first game of 4v4, and it was 8-second respawn Slayer, and I thought it was a glitch, so I Skyped Unishek asking about it, and he was just like, "Wait, it should be 5 seconds." And then after that, we like never spoke about it again, and it still stayed 8 seconds. So he didn't even know when it came out. I think it might have been just like a last minute change, because in the beta it was 5 seconds.
That's weird.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what would spur that last moment decision then.
Again, I just think they thought their game was too fast paced and they wanted to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they should just go by what the community wants.
Yeah.
Make everyone happy.
Yeah, definitely.
It's almost like that'll keep people playing their game or something, you know?
That'd be weird.
Yeah, that's something else.
We could go into like playlist management too.
I was just about to say playlist management.
Playlist is not good at all.
Yeah, because the idea of not only the whole idea of ranked versus social, and okay, yes, social playlists in all Halos have always had like a little hidden rank system, but it was so broad it almost didn't matter. And in here, you have people that will get on a second account, especially these streamers. They'll play on a second account usually because they don't want to get stream sniped or something, and then they get up to the equivalent of a champion rank in a social playlist, and it's extremely noticeable. And then they say, "Oh yeah, it's a social playlist," but it's not. And you never had that problem in any other Halo.
It seems so counterintuitive, and I like we've talked about this before, but like it should just be party matching. Like Team of 4 should match Team of 4. That's just how it should work.
Yeah, like Halo Reach had that system. Granted, it's much less noticeable now because of the population per playlist, but they had a system in place.
6.9K.
Yeah, they had a system in place where if you were searching as a full team, or mostly a full team, you were far more likely to match another team. And then that would be based on the population counter and how restrictive that would be, because now you can search as a team and you may find solo queue players because not everyone searches as teams now. And I mean, Halo 5 could go the same route. I don't know why they wouldn't, because yeah, they do have some population issues apparently in some playlists, like how, what is it, Vetoed, he's like an Onyx or a Champ. I don't remember what he is right now, but he'll match like Platinums and Diamonds because they have to broaden the range for higher ranks to match because they have a lower population overall. But for other playlists, I'm sure that they had that same issue, and party searching could at least exist even if it's not super prevalent because not everyone searches in teams. Also on playlist management though, there's the idea of rotating playlists.
I hate it.
I don't understand it. Like, as I said, maybe you could actually get people to stay on the game. That was kind of a nod to the idea of not taking out playlists that people want to play. I don't understand if their idea is, oh, if we make a playlist set for an exclusive time, it'll make people come back. Well, you won't have to make people come back if you don't make them want to leave in the first place. Yeah. It's such a backwards thought process.
I remember Halo 4, they had the same thing. They like started out with like 6 or 7 playlists, and they were just like, the reason we're starting with these playlists is to consolidate the population and stuff. But then they never really added too much to it, and that continued on to Halo 5 too, to the point where like they'd start by saying, oh, we're going to have like a weekend social playlist. But the problem is that they're making these weekend playlists that should be in the game in the first place, like snipers or doubles or.
They did that for MCC too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They had Team Objective and they took it out.
Yeah, Objective. They had Oddball. Both of them are gone. Probably never going to come back.
Yeah.
But yeah. I always think that an Objective playlist should always be in the game no matter what.
Definitely.
Like that. Like there's so many clips that have been hit on MCC specifically. They're just like all either Slayer because they have to play Team Slayer, or they're Objective, but they're in big team. Like you don't really get like Objective clips on the other maps like narrows.
And not just from like clips and montaging, but like some of my like favorite memories from Halo 3 is that you could hop on and literally play whatever you want because there were so many different options to choose from. And like I understand that the population now doesn't support that many playlists, but if you would just launch with that many playlists, maybe the population would stick around longer. That's my thought process from it.
That's part of the disappointment that I had.
They're starting with like very few playlists, thinking it's gonna like keep people playing, but I don't see how that's working.
Yeah.
It's part of the disappointment I had when I first got on MCC when it released. Is that
there was a lot of disappointment there.
Well, okay, I know that. We all know that. But what I'm saying is that when I got on, my vision was that I'd load up MCC and it'd be like, Halo the Master Chief Collection. Then you would see Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then I would click on whichever game. And then if I clicked on Halo 3, it would basically launch the menu.
Game were there?
What?
Were you thinking like all the playlists from the original game were there?
Yeah, and then it would be just like playing on the original game. Oh, or like Halo 2, shipped exactly as it was 10 years ago. Then Halo 2 would be the same way. I'd load up Halo 2, it would be exactly as I played it 10 years ago. But guess what? Yeah. That's not how it went. Everything was consolidated, and I can guarantee that's actually part of MCC's dysfunctionality. If they kept everything separate, maybe if they had a separate cross-playlist thing like they do with Campaign, that's different. But if they kept everything separate, I can guarantee that the separate functions of MCC would have worked a lot better. That's just how I think it should have been.
What they could have done also is they could have taken literally every single playlist from Halo 3 and put it in there and just had them all be like multi-Halo or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen multi-team on MCC, which is like one of Halo 3's like most favorite.
It was never on there.
Like, I don't know. It just seems like there's a really big missed opportunity with that. And I feel like that's something with Halo 5 too. Like they bring back all these playlists to try and get people playing for like that week, but then afterwards they're done. Like I know plenty of montages after Shoddy Snipers was taken out, they like stopped playing completely. Like Alive Dinosaur, one of the like most unique, entertaining Halo 5 montagers, he's not playing at all right now because there's no Shoddy Snipers. So
I just feel like they like almost like don't care. Like I know on MCC, like for the infection playlist, it says it's a limited time, and it's been like that for almost maybe even over a year.
Didn't even notice.
And then in Big Team too.
Yeah.
In Big Team, it says includes new map Remnant. It's been in here for like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Yeah, they. I remember it was like 6 or 7 months back. They had a blog post and there's like, we're gonna bring a 1v1 playlist to MCC.
That was supposed to come when they took out Free For All and added Griffball, and it never happened.
That never happened.
I would be playing that to this day if it still existed. But
I think that would be popular for like especially people in Halo 2 because you could get that's like a popular 1v1 game to play.
Game type, yeah.
And you do realize that Halo 2 had a head-to-head playlist, and Halo 3 at one point had a head-to-head playlist, and that was the goal, was to kind of throw back to that, and then it was never added, even though in the exact same post saying, oh yeah, we're going to take out Free For All because there's no population, and we're going to add Griffball because it's a fan favorite, and then we're going to add head-to-head, and then I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll actually play something I want to on MCC like really consistently. And then
on that topic of taking out playlists because of no population, that's their logic for taking out Shoddy Snipers, and I just think it's garbage. Because that playlist was so popular. I could search it anytime. I searched it at 4 a.m. and found instant games with people I've never matched before. I don't know. It's just frustrating. I just wish that they would like launch with a good set of playlists that everyone wants to play and just keep them around as long as they can, and not just like having a weekend playlist or like a weekend like double XP playlist is cool, but make it something that's not like necessary to the game's like health. Like, don't make it different. Don't make it doubles. Make it like Fiesta FFA or something fun like that.
Yeah, because the whole point in Halo 3, when they did double EXP weekend, it was something unique, or even like temporary things. For example, we've talked about this sometimes in our ENF chat about one of Mike's clips. It's like a Tross Exterm in ODST Slayer. I mean, Normac, have you even ever heard of ODST Slayer?
Never.
Exactly. No. It was a very rare, limited time thing, and it was a unique playlist. But it wasn't essential. Whereas Halo 3 had its essentials down, and they were permanent. That's how it should be.
Halo 3 had some really cool rotational playlists too. Like they had that. They had like Mythic Brawl and
yeah.
I hope that if MCC does have, there has been some small talk about maybe updating MCC just for the sake of like changing playlists again, and I hope that means maybe doing like a rotation, and hopefully they'll add free for all back in again and forget about it, and then that means that it'll stay. Because free for all is almost the only thing that I played in MCC, and then they took it out. That's why I almost never play matchmatchmaking in Halo nowadays. I just sit here and edit because I don't have anything I want to play.
If we ever wanted to do a podcast like specifically about free for all for some reason, I don't know why we would, but like I've been in like hour-long conversations with Campy before where he just rants about free for all because it's like his favorite game type completely, and the way they're treating it in Halo 5 is just ridiculous. Like they have default settings that nobody likes. It's a ranked playlist. It's 6-man with 8-second respawn, like autos everywhere that are overpowered, maps that no one wants to play. And you look at the population of free for all, and it's like dead. There are 2 champs in the entire playlist because no one wants to play it.
You still listen, like they don't care almost.
And I feel like that's what happened with MCC too. Like, I mean, I feel like MCC free for all, like when they took it out, it probably wasn't completely dead. It was
it was. I tried playing it,
like,
and you just couldn't find games. I understood at the time why they took it out, and it's one of those things like you don't know how good it is until you don't have it anymore. Because now it's like, well, now there's absolutely no way for us to play free for all.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me wonder how much server cost there is in maintaining it if no one played it, or if there were very few games. So
I just wish instead of like when a playlist obviously dies, instead of just taking it out, why not just like find out why it died and improve it and bring it back?
Yeah, or like revamp the maps or revamp the game types or something.
Make it like a weekend playlist too. Like have it like only come every once in a while, then people would want to like go to it. People would want to like be excited to play it again.
Yeah, but make it like an actual playlist that, like, I don't know. I remember when Halo 4 launched, there were 6 playlists, and there was one, they didn't even have normal Slayer. It was only like instant respawn Slayer. And then they had free for all, but it was called Regicide. It was this weird game type, and it was only that game type. There was nothing else in there. So like it like alienated a lot of people that were like used to traditional Halo game types. And I don't know. Like I have a feeling with the next Halo, whatever it's gonna be, I feel like it's gonna end up being like they're gonna try and cater to the classic community somehow, but I feel like they're gonna do it in a way where it's like split the game off, and I don't know. I don't really see a lot of good coming out of that, to be honest.
I remember that drawing me away, by the way, because I wasn't much of a Halo 4 player. But when I first got it, like I said, I tend to do a lot of free for all, and that's the first thing I wanted to hop into in Halo 4.
Yeah.
And when I did, I saw Regicide, and I'm like, what is this? Why? Yeah. I don't like being at the top of a free for all lobby and having a beacon on my head because I'm winning. I hated that. So I stopped.
To be fair, it was a fun montaging game type, but I mean, no one really wanted to montage.
Like, imagine playing Regicide in a competitive manner. You can't. You get a waypoint on your head if you're in the lead. That's garbage. Even though, you get bonuses.
In Big Team at MCC?
Yeah, they do. I
played it the other day, Chris, actually. Oddly enough, like one of the rare times I played BTB, which I ran into Cam and Matt on my side account. One of the other games that I managed to play was everybody voted Halo 4 on Complex, and it was Regicide. I'm like, this is actually a thing in BTB? Are you kidding me? And of course, I get the first 3 kills, and everyone sees the waypoint on my head, and I just get destroyed. Like, it was trash. Oh, my God. But, I don't know. Going back to the free-for-all thing, though, like, for a podcast, I'd actually be really interested, if any of them are listening to it, getting Eli, Campy, and Vetoed in a free-for-all based podcast. That would be a freaking educational podcast right there.
Dude, Vetoed, I have to give so many props to him. He is, like, typed up like super long like articles to 343 about FFA.
Yeah.
Just about all the problems with it, and like they're gonna update FFA soon, they've like said what it's going to be, but it's not like there's still ARs, there's still autos.
Even
like,
though they
some of the
acknowledge
maps,
that they
like,
read his documentation.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but yeah, no, I mean the Halo 5 free for all. I don't know. I just feel like it's such an easy fix. Make it 8-man and make it pistol only. That's what I feel like, and make it like maps that, like, if you're gonna have a ranked free for all playlist and have it like be really competitive, make it have competitive settings. Like, I know Halo 3 Lone Wolves didn't exactly do that very well, but people still loved it because the Halo 3 rank system was so addictive.
yeah, I'd be curious to see MCC implement another throwback playlist like the MLG Free for All playlist.
Oh,
I would play that so
That would be
much.
fun. Yeah.
That'd be cool,
And imagine if Halo 5 at least tested something like that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Because then they could see, oh wait, this large demographic of people actually enjoyed these settings. Maybe we should actually make it a thing. Because people would want that, and people would actually like our game. What a novel concept.
Yeah, no.
But
I think the bottom line with playlists is just launch with a good set of playlists that everyone wants, and then keep the ones that you're experimenting with, or the really fun ones, like the fun weekend fiesta playlist. Just keep those as like a rotational weekly thing. I like that, but just make sure you have all the essentials first, and make sure that the game launches with a ton of stuff to do. Whereas like after like 2 weeks of Halo 5 being out and having the same playlists, I got pretty bored, to be honest. Like, and same with Halo 4. Like, a bunch of people just kind of stopped playing.
I'm
after
part of
they
that
reached
demographic.
master.
I didn't stick around with
Yeah.
Halo 4, Halo 5 because of those reasons.
Yeah, and I mean, I understand with them like wanting to make like I understand them wanting to bring more people in, but with them doing that, they're just making, I don't know, they're just kind of making the game more noob friendly in general. But then at the same time, they're pushing Halo 5 as like some huge competitive experience, which, to be fair, there have been some pretty cool Halo 5 tournaments, but it took them like 2 years to get the settings to where the pros actually like it. So
Yeah, they should just be more like responsive and listen more. I know other companies like Blizzard, like I'm pretty sure they made Overwatch.
yeah,
Just like they're always on top of listening to people, and they implement new stuff all the time. It's like, I think that really like appeals to people. They like seeing that, like, that the company that made the game like cares about it too. Like,
yeah,
make sure the
definitely.
people that are
here's the
playing.
thing. Here's the thing. 343 is very active in listening to the community. They're on Reddit all the time, but they're almost only listening to Reddit, and guess what kind of base that is.
Yeah. And I mean, Reddit definitely, like, there are some good points on Reddit, but the problem is that like Reddit is, for the most part, I'm not going to say everyone, but for the most part, it's like all casual people, for the most part. Like, people who play Halo and enjoy it, but they don't like strive to be like the best at it, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's who they're taking feedback from,
Right.
even in competitive aspects. It's like, well, there's your problem. Listen to the demographic that actually is like experienced and knowledgeable on what you're trying to improve, and then it'll be better. That's how things work.
Did you guys want to talk a little bit about H3A? Should it happen? Will it happen? Probably not.
All right, let me get my spiel out of the way. Okay, so with Halo 3 Anniversary, there are up and down sides to whether they would do it or not. And my logic at this point is, if they aren't doing Halo 3 Anniversary like they've confirmed, then they should at least make Halo 3 backwards compatible. But the whole reason why they probably aren't is because they want people to go to MCC, the whole
Yeah, but they aren't updating MCC. Like if they want people to go to MCC, that's understandable, but like, keep it alive and update it. Don't just leave it there like you have been for however long now. They just haven't done anything with MCC.
Yeah,
Just
I
literally
know.
a playlist update is all they need to keep it fresh, but they just won't do
But what
it.
bothers me more is the fact that making Halo 3 backwards compatible isn't even something that 343 has to do. They literally sign a document and give Microsoft permission to make the emulator. The developers do not make the emulators. That's Microsoft that does it. They're the backwards compatibility team. So they wouldn't even have to put any money or effort into it. Just be like, all right, go ahead. Oh, look, people are coming back to Halo to play Halo 3 backwards compatibility. How great.
I mean, a lot of
only
people came
benefit
back to Reach when it went backwards compatible.
Yeah.
And then
like,
they realized that the frame rate was messed up. But then a lot of people actually came back when the frame rate was fixed.
Exactly. Now imagine Halo 3, which is a much more popular game, and
Yeah.
think about how many people vote for it on MCC versus anything else. Clearly shows how many people would want to play it.
Exactly.
So there's one side, but here's the other thing. Let's take a look at Halo 2 Anniversary. What was that versus the original Halo 2?
Yeah,
it was a reskin of Halo 4.
Personally, I didn't want a Halo 3 Anniversary because I thought they would do the same thing that they did with H2A, like take the Halo 5 engine, get rid of abilities, remake a few maps, and call it Halo 3 Anniversary.
Exactly, and that's my problem with it, because it's like, if they did Halo 2 Anniversary the way they did exactly as it was 10 years ago for Halo 2.
The campaign. Like the campaign of H2A, if that was actual H2A in matchmaking, it would have been so good.
Yeah. And then, so if they do this with Halo 3 Anniversary, who's to say they wouldn't repeat the process of just reskinning a new engine and having it be
I don't think that they would, because I know for MCC, I'm not trying to like give them any like I don't know, like support them, because they messed that up. They really did. But I think if they did do an H3A, they would have more time in it, because on MCC, I know they were having to like, I don't know if they were starting making Halo 5 at that point, but I know that they're having to get like a lot of other stuff in MCC. I don't know how difficult that was or how much time that they had, but
I mean, there were so many companies that went into MCC.
Yeah, that's true.
The way I describe MCC is that picture you're in a group project in high school with 8 different people, and your teacher gives you the assignment, okay? And you each say, all right, I'm going to take this part. All right, I'll do this part at home. And then none of you talk throughout the entire process. And then it comes to presentation day. You all have your parts done, but they don't fit together. That's exactly what the problem with MCC was. You know, I don't know. That's why.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree. If they were to do H3A standalone and actually make it like the original engine and make it like put all their effort into it, I think that would be great. But since they're not doing it this year, Halo 3 quote Anniversary wouldn't make sense any other time.
That's true.
So if they're not going to do it and they're putting all their effort into Halo 6, Halo 6 better be a goddamn good game.
And or that's why I think they should just let it be backwards compatible, because they don't have to do anything. They just sign it off and let Microsoft make the emulator.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I can definitely see a lot of people coming back for Halo 3 backwards compatibility.
Yeah,
who haven't played.
That's what I would be playing if it existed. You know, I wouldn't be trying to play Reach or MCC in its current state. I'd be going back to H3 360. I don't play it now because I don't have a working controller, and even if I could, the controllers are so different from Xbox One, I'd suck with it. But if I could play it on the Xbox One,
perspective, like,
you know,
the most enjoyable montages for a lot of people, as we've said, are Halo 3 and classic Halo montages. And I mean, I just bring up someone, Ishii, Mike. He plays 360 and it's pretty dead and it's really hard for him to play it, but he's very dedicated to it. And if you could inject the smallest bit of life into that game, the Halo 3 montage scene would probably make a little bit of a comeback, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool if that ever happened. Like if they made it backwards compatible and things like multi-team came back to life, which it probably would. Really, a lot of like newbie players would go back to it.
The other thing also is that like when you look at MCC Halo 3 montages, there isn't a lot of variety, because you can pretty much play Team Slayer, Snipes, Big Team. Like if you had a whole Halo 3 original playlist to choose from, like, I don't know. I think you'd be able to make some really enjoyable montages, especially today, like combined with the MCC stuff. Like you can combine Halo 3 360 standards and MCC standards. I think it'd be really.
What you're saying about the Halo 3, like having that mix between gameplay, I think that's like definitely the most difficult thing now for MCC. I don't know about other games, but Halo 3 in specific, it's like hard to get a lot of variety, because people like towards the beginning of MCC, people didn't really like Snipes that much because a lot of people went to it. And then I think it went more towards Big Team, where now people don't like seeing either of them really. Like we talked about it before, Seawall, just people hate it. Like team snipe in general, people don't want to watch it. Like big team in general, it's just like any map that you get a clip on, people are just like, well, it's big team, it's team snipe, it's whatever. They just don't want to watch it.
Yeah, and Team Slayer is like a really frustrating playlist as far as I've heard.
If it was 5v5, it would be so much better, but that's not gonna happen.
Chris doesn't understand why I bother, but this is why. The whole playlist saturation concept is why I actually play multi-team in Halo Reach and try and get clips in there, even though it's probably one of the most trash playlists to try and get clips in.
It's awful.
You know, it was good once upon a time, but now it's probably one of the worst, if the worst playlist. But that's pretty much all I play in Reach, because Rumble Pit is almost dead. MLG is basically dead. And
here, I'm actually on Reach right now. Let me see the population of MLG.
Yeah, because all the playlists I used to play in Reach are dead.
6 players.
Yeah, so there's a good example. I can't play MLG anymore. That's what I used to play. I can barely play Rumble Pit. Oddly enough, when I do search Rumble Pit, I'll run into like teams of 5. When I search, it's like, what are these guys doing? Are they boosting in 2017? Like, I don't even know.
There actually are boosters still on Reach. I matched a 207 in Anniversary that were all boosting a couple days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm basically stuck with multi-team. That's the one last playlist that I would play. And
have you ever played a drinking game where you count how many ninja kids are in the game and you take a shot every time you try?
Maybe if I was into drinking, I could do that, but I'd get pretty damn wasted. I can say that.
Dude, I didn't know that ninja kids were a thing, and then Reach backwards compatibility came out. I was playing it. I was like, why is everyone doing this? And I was like, and one of them actually hit it on me. I got so mad. I just immediately went back to MCC and uninstalled Reach. So I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's bad. And I mean, I understand, like, there are some pretty, like, there's some creative ninja montages and people like play the game however you want. But when you match so many people that are trying to do the same thing and are just like running away from everyone, just trying to only get ninjas in a game, it's like infuriating.
It's like when I actually do hit a clip, it looks garbage because all these people are jumping around at each other. Like, it's like, who would want to see this clip? It's like I'm duck hunting at point blank because no one's trying to shoot me. You know, like, it's so weird. So that's why. Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that. I'll save that for the next podcast. But yeah, I don't know. Like, just the whole thing is just messed up. The whole playlist situation and population, and at least Reach isn't stuck in a rotating playlist thing like Halo 5.
Yeah, Reach. Yeah, but they took out some of, in my opinion, the best playlists in Reach.
Yeah,
they took out
Action Sack,
and they took out Anniversary Free For All, and they took out Anniversary Big Team, which, like.
Yeah, I was a huge Anniversary Free For All advocate. And
yes, I was.
They took that
Those
out.
Two playlists were really fun, and the thing is that, like, they took them out because of low population. But the thing is that they sold Halo CE Anniversary as a standalone disc, and when you bought that game, you don't get any of Reach. You only get those playlists. So when they did that, anyone who happens to buy that disc again, which there probably aren't many, but if anyone buys that disc, they're going to have one playlist to choose from, multiplayer, and then a firefight playlist.
Yeah.
Before, they had a bunch of variety where you could play, like, with the current system, if you buy that game, you can't even play the big team apps that they remastered. And that was 343's decision too. That wasn't Bungie. But yeah, I don't know. I really think the bottom line with all of this is just launch the game with everything that you need to make it successful at the start.
And if they don't know, just like have like a vote or something.
Ask the community. Yeah.
Well, I don't know about a vote because the newbie players would be like Infection, Griffball, but I mean those would be fine too. I mean,
I was gonna say those are technically essential.
There are separate communities for Infection and Griffball, and that's fine. I mean, like, I'm looking right now, there are 1,000 people playing Living Dead on Reach right now. Still.
Yeah, that would be fine too if they just had a lot of variety, like you said.
Those are considered essentials, in my opinion. Those are part of the essential Halo experience, even if I don't personally play them. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I guess one other thing we didn't talk about are the map remixes in Halo 5, where they take the same map and like redo it a little bit and then call it a different map and then release it later. And
if I want to sum that up, that's the whole quantity over quality argument.
Yeah, and the other thing is that, like, if you go out and talk to people who still play Halo 5 all the time, like Campy, for example, I'd say every single remix map, except for the ones that were launched, like with the game, every single remix map that has come out has been worse than the original by far. And that being said, even then, like a lot of the maps in Halo 5 that the game launched with, people didn't even really like that much because there wasn't a whole lot of variety, because they did this whole quote free DLC thing where they just took maps, and for the most part, there were like a couple maps that they released that were brand new and they were pretty cool, but they did this thing where they just kept releasing the same map with a slightly different layout and stuff. And I don't know. I just really don't think it was a good idea, and I hope they don't do it.
Which, to be fair, I actually do not mind the fact the way that they went through microtransactions and had free DLC. What I disagree with was the quality of them, because they pushed out the quantity. Because think about how many DLCs came out for Halo 3 and Halo Reach. What, 3 each, I think? What was it?
Yeah. And there was only really one in Reach that people cared about, and it was Universe.
So you think about the fact that they had like 3 DLCs. That's acceptable. No one said, "Oh yeah, I'm playing Reach and this 3rd DLC came out. We need another DLC." I never heard anyone demand that. People were satisfied with what they had because they were quality additions to the game. With Halo 5, people were like, "Well, why did we get this?" They spent their microtransaction money on just kind of half-assing a remix. You know, I'd be okay with not getting 8 updates if we only got 3 and they were quality.
That some of those were in development already, and they held off launch to make it look like that they were like working on something else. Like I remember one of the Halo 5 promo videos before the game came out, they had 2 or 3 maps in there that were later revealed as like in updates like 3 or 4 months after the game came out.
Or so, for example, they had the original concept for the rig was actually more similar to Molten. If I remember correctly. So that's how Molten came into being. And I can understand that. That kind of makes more sense. But for turning everything into a remix, like, we don't need that, you know?
Yeah, and that also brings back the whole aesthetic thing. Like, most of the maps in Halo 5 are all like UNSC aesthetic, and they all kind of start to look the same. And when you remix the same map and have the same textures and the same like stuff with different skyboxes, different like weather, different different layout, but the same like map texture and map look, it's, I don't know, it just gets repetitive to watch. It's just, I don't know, the whole thing with DLC was, it kind of surrounded like around the whole Warzone thing, where they had maps or weapons that were added to the game later in this microtransaction rec pack thing. And I mean, people liked it for the most part, and I think it's really cool that they put a lot of it toward the HCS championships. That was really cool. And I mean, the weapons that they added were like, I don't know, interesting, but for the most part, as far as I know, like a lot of the people who thought Warzone were going to be really cool don't even want to play it anymore, because it's such a different experience from normal Halo 5. And it just kind of like takes away like the fairness of Halo, where like everyone starts with like the same weapon. Here you can spawn snipers and stuff like that. So
I guess a counter argument to that, though, is that if you get into Warzone, it is so different that you should expect the lack of fairness. And that's the mentality I've gone into since I played Warzone. And because of that, I haven't really minded it. The one thing that really prevented me from playing Warzone is the fact that everyone searches in teams and farms, and I just get spawn killed. And that's why I don't play it. Yeah. But before that was a thing, I actually really didn't mind Warzone that much, just for the sake of like playing. If I wasn't like montaging or anything, I was just playing it, and I'm like, this really isn't that bad. It is different, and I'm not looking for an arena shooter like competitive experience here.
Yeah, they did a really interesting thing in Warzone too, is that they made it so that you can only search in teams of 6 or less now. They made it so you can't search in a team of 12, but then they just randomly added another playlist weekend, Warzone Warlords, where you could only search as a team of 12. So it was just like MLG Warzone Sweatfest. And like, I don't understand that at all. Like, just make it so teams can match teams, and that wouldn't be a problem. You wouldn't have to make a separate playlist for your game.
Yeah, did they just like they do the rotating playlist for population? Like, you're making your own problem here.
Yeah, and I mean, to the topic of Warzone, I didn't play it a whole lot, but when I did play it, I did have fun when I was playing with like friends of mine. I had a decent time. It was like, it was a cool new idea. It was a cool thing to the game. But when the game launched, they didn't have big team. They thought everyone was going to be happy with Warzone. And like when Halo 5 came out, I'm pretty sure Warzone was like the only quote social playlist. Everything else was ranked. Yeah, and then they released Big Team, which was ranked at start too. So just launch your game with playlists that are social and ranked, and just it's such an easy fix for me, honestly. They just need to launch the game with everything that the game needs. Like, don't rely on like months to pass by and think that people are going to come back. If the game isn't fun at launch, they're not going to play it and they're not going to come back.
That's going to be it for this episode of the Halo Montager Podcast. I already have plans underway for the next one. It's just a matter of getting the people I want on board for it. And I've also left a straw poll in the description pertaining to the length of these episodes, because I'd like to know your preferences so I can accommodate the editing for them accordingly. Aside from all that, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.